What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Apollo. Hope you're all having a good day. If you haven't watched the last video, please do give it a watch. It is about Alton Towers Scarefest 2024. It's kind of a basic introduction to the channel, but to also give you kind of an idea of what's to hopefully be expected going forward. So if you do have any interesting theme parks, roller coasters, Halloween events, or just want to see a general, decently filmed vlog of a very interesting day out in the UK, please do go and check and watch that out. It's a quite interesting video, I think, but also one that you might be interested in, like I said, if you like theme parks and roller coasters. Now, what are we going to be talking about today? We can already tell by the title of the video and the thumbnail, but we're obviously going to be talking about the PS2. Now, why are we talking about the PS2? Because I am a nerd. I'm a massive gamer. I love gaming. I've been playing it for a very long time. I have a slew of consoles from over the years, and a lot of consoles currently now, from PS5 to Nintendo Switch to PC. So obviously, what we're talking about today, the PS2, the nice fat model. Why the PS2 though? Why are we talking about this today? Well, obviously, if you're living under a rock, retro gaming and general popularity in filming video game content has seemed to skyrocket. So I thought, why not make use of something that I've already got, something that I've owned for a little bit now, and try and make a video out of it. And we're basically going to be talking about a game collection that I've got today. But firstly, why the PS2? Why even talk about this? Came out in 2000 and is obviously the best-selling video game console of all time, shipping over 160 million units. Why are we talking about this today? Well, for me, it is probably the most fondest, and if not the first introduction that I got into video game consoles. Now, I'm not going to talk about my age on here. However, if this is my first introduction to video gaming, you can kind of guess around the age I've been around for this time. The PS2, I've owned 3 of these. I had one when I was very young, but obviously when you're younger, you're a little bit stupider. So in my mind, the best idea was to keep stomping on it. Ended up breaking it and ended up getting a second one for my birthday. It was an absolute joyous time. Sold it on a few years later in trading it for a Nintendo Wii. What a weird decision that was. And then recently, having been through university, I decided to go back into nostalgia, seeing what everybody on TikTok was playing, and kind of jump on the grind myself really. So I invested in a PS2 bundle, got it from eBay for around, I want to say £50, so it wasn't a massive utility. It came with a bunch of games, and that's obviously what we're going to be talking about here today and going through that for you. The PS2 for me, it's just reminiscent of a good time in gaming, isn't it? You know, we're not worried about live content games, social services, live service games, where essentially if your game's not like Fortnite or an Apex Legends, or for use of a really good example of games done badly, a Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. We're not talking about games like that. We're talking about sitting down, connecting to a game, pick up and play video games, and that's what the PS2 was massively brilliant for. In a time where it was competing against the Xbox, having just been released by Microsoft as a competitor for the PS2, and also Nintendo intending to release the GameCube, which would ultimately be Nintendo's worst-selling video game console. PS2 really stood up in a time where technology was evolving, and obviously the PS2 would be at the forefront of it, and ultimately still at the forefront of the video game industry. So firstly then, I thought we'd just go over some quick fun facts about the PlayStation 2, so let's consolidate that. The PS2 introduced a custom RISC processor called the Emotion Engine. So for those who don't know, consoles and general hardware in the video game industry tend to have these random names for components within their systems. The Nintendo GameCube had the Dolphin chip, and obviously PlayStation 2 went with the Emotion Engine. This was obviously to step up from the PlayStation 1 and introduce stuff like motion capture, full face animation, obviously show a leap in quality from the PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 2. 32 megabytes of internal memory there, so not a lot compared to what we have nowadays, especially if you have a PC where you can push wards up to 90 gigabytes of RAM. GS250nm GPU, 8 megabytes. Obviously, not the most astoundingly beautiful console nowadays, but when you've got to think back then, it was very impressive. And obviously, even though Microsoft was offering something of a great alternative to the PS2, it wasn't perhaps as well done as the PlayStation 2 in terms of that aspect. And probably one of the bigger things with the PlayStation 2 was the lack of internal storage. If you wanted to save your games, you would have to buy a memory card. Now the memory cards, they come in these like little small factors here. They're about like 8 megabytes, but that was how you saved games. If you didn't have one, you'd essentially play the game after, restarting again because you don't have that little save card. That's what happened to me most of the time. You'd end up playing. I know I was playing Prince of Persia: The Two Thrones, and I remember so much about the intro of it and the general game itself. But the intro so much about it because you never ended up saving it, so you just kept playing it and over. But obviously, if you wanted to save a game, that's how you would have done it there. So some more fun facts then. Obviously, this is the PS2 fat model here. It's obviously got the fat because obviously look at the bloody size. So compared to consoles nowadays, it's a chunky little boy. But obviously, we've had a lot of slimmer models over the time of the PlayStation 2. But some quick facts about it. It obviously has a front-loading disc drive here, so obviously that's when it comes out, comes back in. Obviously, the PS2 Slim would introduce the model where you press the button, the flap would open up, put your disc in. Much more convenient, less moving bits to break. The fat model will also support a hard disk drive. So if we look on the back here, I don't know how well you can see that, the expansion port there. So when you open this up, this was actually used for one of two features. Obviously, PlayStation 2 does not come with internet access. If you wanted internet access, you'd have to buy a network adapter. It would plug into there, and obviously you'd use an Ethernet cable to connect there and be able to play online. Alternatively, there was one game on the PlayStation 2 that needed the use of an external hard drive, and that was Final Fantasy XI. You physically could not play it because it was so big in graphical quality and size. So if you wanted to play Final Fantasy XI, you needed a hard drive and you needed to put it in there. But alternatively, a lot of people use it nowadays for when you jailbreak consoles, and rather than having obviously physical media, you can just buy a hard drive full of games, put it in there, job's good. It also served another purpose as well, being a DVD player. So bear in mind, DVD players are relatively expensive around the time. It was one of those first few things that was introduced into the modern age of technology. And bear in mind, a video game console that could also serve as a DVD player, you know, that was a lot of buying reasons, perhaps why it did end up selling the amount of units that it did, 160 million units, because it could do multi-purpose functionality. And then finally, the last game it ever sold was Pro Evolution Soccer 2014. I know it was FIFA 14 and Final Fantasy around that time, but the console would serve until 2000 to 2013, but obviously Pro Evolution Soccer would come out after the following year. So quite the cool console, to be fair, for its time. Obviously it managed to go on a lot longer than people expected, but would be followed up by the PlayStation 3, which was plagued by issues, but ultimately had a great end in going towards the end of its lifetime. But what we're going to talk about now, we're going to talk about games. So in my game collection, I have 48 games. Now obviously it's not as big as many people would have. It's not going to be the most flashiest with most big prices and whatnot, but I just like to believe that some of the games I've got here today are some quite good games, quite essentials to the PlayStation 2's life form, and just quite successful. So as I mentioned there, 48 games in total. If we're going on cash value according to price charting website, the collection is worth 325.1 pence. Now, if you're in the UK, you're gonna like this one, especially Kale. Big up to Kale because he loves to do this. If you was to trade this in at CEX, which is basically a media and technology trading store, selling games, computers, DVDs, all the sorts that you can find. If I was to trade this in, I would get £62.70 in cash and £97.70 in a voucher. So, a complete contrast to obviously the price charting, but bear in mind that's what CX is. They will cut through at you for prices and will try and set up a profit. Like, for instance, I've got The Simpsons Hit and Run on this collection. It sells for £22 in CEX, but they're only offering £5 cash and £8 in voucher. You cheeky buggers. And yeah, that's quite the interesting collection there for the PlayStation 2. So without further ado, if you're going to enjoy this collection, please do leave a like, please subscribe to the channel, because this is kind of the content you're going to be seeing going forward. It's just whatever I like to film, whatever I feel like, you know, is something that I want to share. This is what you're going to be expecting. But let's have a look at the game collection and let's see what gems we can uncover for the PlayStation 2. Okay, so here we are now. I've got the games lined up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly go through every single game. I'm going to open it up, have a look at the front and back, see what's going on with the games. Also might give you a little bit of discussion about the games. Now, there are some in here that I haven't played, some in here that I've played a lot more than I was going to have a little bit of more personal connection with. So I might go into that. I might show a few clips of gameplay as well for you. But yeah, let's just go through and get straight into these games. So I'm going to start over here. Shadow the Hedgehog, I bought this recently. This is essentially just any like Sonic game that you've played, but obviously featuring a more dark edge to it. So obviously you've got guns, you've got a bit more melee combat in it, and it's a lot more of a unique game than the Sonic experience. Not personally one of my favourite games. Having played this recently, it's not particularly brilliant. However, you know, it quietly stands out, and also with the Sonic movies coming out, this is a decent little pick up there for you there. Medal of Honor Rise and Sun, arguably one of the best Medal of Honor games in the series. This is a great first opening mission where you're on the SS Battalion and you're fighting off the Japanese pilots as they try and shoot you down. This is a brilliant game. Obviously it does look a bit dated nowadays, but it's a great game for its time and something that really holds up well on the PS2. Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories there. Not one of that I've played. I believe it's just a follow-up from the Liberty City or Vice City games. But this is a decent little game that you want to pick up if you're a massive GTA fan there. Downhill Domination. I've never heard of this game or played this game, but in my mind it's just Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam if you have seen that or played that game, but with BMX and motorbikes, which is just a little fun game there to kill some time and really set the mood there with a nice bit of action. Now going on to one of the better 007 games on this generation, 007 Nightfire. I've had to buy 4 copies of this game. 3 times I've had to buy it and it's come with the wrong disc, but ultimately I managed to get this copy. What a brilliant little game this is. First person shooter, really making you feel like you're within the movies whilst obviously setting a brand new campaign. It's got some driving missions, first person stealth, obviously favourite Bond characters, but also not to mention split screen multiplayer, local play. It's a brilliant party game and just overall a great game for the 007 franchise. And then its sequel, 007 Everything or Nothing. This is a third-person shooter with more cover-based focus on here. Me and my brother have played this plenty of times, but there's some great games here, especially the co-op missions. If you also like 007 Nightfire, you'll absolutely love Everything or Nothing. I can't get past one of the first missions in the game, unfortunately, due to hardware being an issue with the PS2. However, this is a great game to play if you love 007. Burnout Revenge. We've all pretty much heard of Burnout. It's the game where you are just driving around trying to cause as much chaos as possible, creating those key crashes with the slow motion framing. It's absolutely brilliant fun. Brilliant game to play if you want to kill a few minutes but also see those great graphical details produced by EA, a game series that really would do well in 2025. Then obviously as well, we've got its sequel or prequel, Burnout Dominator. Same game again, but obviously just providing more carnage than it usually did before. Juice 2, haven't heard of this really. It's just more so a game that's again more about Tokyo drifting, Tokyo Nights, the driving game, but unfortunately have not played this one, so I couldn't really tell you much about it. It's Juice 2. Another driving game here, Need for Speed Most Wanted. Obviously it's receiving a remake, I believe, this year. However, this is quite a popular game, especially if you own the Xbox 360 version, which is going for a lot of money in CEX, so that's something you might want to invest in. But another solid game in the Need for Speed franchise, really arguably at its peak during the PS2 era there. Now here's a game that everybody might forget about, Deus Ex, obviously Human Revolution, and some of the games that have come out towards the PS3 and PS4 generation. This is where it all started on the Deus Ex, obviously not on the PS2, and I personally would not recommend it playing on PS2. It runs really poorly, it's graphically so dark, so it's hard to see what you do most of the times. If you do want to play this game, go on GOG, play it on PC, that is the best way to experience Deus Ex there. But it's got some great RPG elements, some cool stealth mechanics, and overall it tells a really decent story for its time. One of the more popular game series is The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King on the PlayStation 2. This is just third-person combat, more like a hack and slash type experience where you play as the characters from the movies as a reenact one of the stories from the franchise. Really good game there. Do also recommend, I think it's called The Two Thrones or The Two Lords. That is a great game as well. That's one that sells really well on the PlayStation 2 with the Lord of the Rings franchise. Now again, another hallmark of Sony and PlayStation, that much so I'm actually already playing it at the moment. Killzone, a lot more of a different game than what was expected from Killzone 2 when that came out on the PS3 in 2008. But what a good game this is. Tells a really good story, a really different setting from that, from what you might expect from your FPS games, the Hellgast. Obviously a great little series introduction for a series that kind of has faded away now since its last entry with Killzone Shadowfall on the PS4. However, this is one series that I think would do really well. But also if you have Helldivers 2, there is a nice premium war bond that you could get with Killzone in the collaboration, so maybe it's worth checking out there. Then we've got Need for Speed Underground. Obviously, Need for Speed Underground 2 is arguably considered the best Need for Speed game in the series. But once again, dark lights, pretty vehicles, flashy set pieces. This is a great game for everybody who loves Need for Speed. WWE SmackDown, just bring it. I'm a massive wrestling fan, so when I did get this bundle, I was very happy. However, this is one of those games that I have not played purely because it is a product of its time. It looks poorly, it plays underwhelmingly. For me, if you're going to get... Oh, bloody hell. Oh, would you look at that? I've never actually noticed this. We actually have a copy of SmackDown vs. Raw. So SmackDown vs. Raw, obviously the game franchise that started that for a bit, can't get it out. This came out in 2006. I don't actually realise I had this. I've never opened the game before. Well, there you go, got 2 games in one there, so, yep, there you go. Never mind, we don't have to worry about SmackDown versus SmackDown, just bring it being a poor game, because we've got 2 left for that one. Red Faction now, a game that, again, unfortunately, I have not played, so I couldn't really exactly tell you what goes on in this game. But from seeing Red Faction Armageddon, I think it was, the one that went really popular for its destructible environment on the PlayStation 3, this looks to be the same game. Obviously, Red Faction joined the revolution. Some really nice, cool disc art here for the PlayStation 2. The Getaway. Now, we've also got the Getaway Black Monday as well. But obviously, this game is renowned for being essentially the British version of Grand Theft Auto. It's just essentially driving around London, causing up some stir with the mafia or the local crime mob. As you also take on the wild and dangerous streets of London, made by Team Soho, their PlayStation developed studio. But yeah, this is a great game, especially its sequel as well, Black Monday, which looks to expand on the story and tell a little bit more of a thematic emphasis going forward. So next up, we've got Tekken Tag Tournament. This is essentially the Tekken series that you all know, come and love. However, it now introduces tag team play, so that's just essentially a 2v2, few more characters, few more storylines to uncover, and just a general nice, solid follow-up for the game series that is Tekken series. And then for me, one of the best games you could play in the Tekken series, arguably the best game, Tekken 5. One absolutely superb game for Tekken 5. Favourite character, if you want to put it in the comments down below, you can go for that. Mine is personally Devil Jin. I'm absolutely in love with Jin. He's a great character. But some great stages, great character selection and roster, plus also some great storylines, especially with Heihachi Mishima. What a great little story there for Tekken 5. Splinter Cell, the original game on the Ubisoft line. A nice set of stealth that goes into this game and attention to detail as well. Fun fact, if you actually have the time, go play through it. There is actually a little secret dialogue talking about the new Prince of Persia game in this game. Obviously made by the same developers of Prince of Persia there. But Splinter Cell, a really great introduction for a game series that is desperate for a new introduction. I know a lot of fans have been wanting it, so hopefully we will see this in the near future. Tony Hawk's Proving Ground here, arguably one of the worst, if not the worst, Tony Hawk game in the series for me. Let's neglect Ride and Shred for what it is. But Tony Hawk's Proving Ground has got no real sense of character, no real sense of enjoyment. I played this on the Wii, but it's still the same game. It just lacks anything charming about the series, and we've got another Tony Hawk game in here that is the complete opposite. But man, is this such a letdown for the series. Runabout 3, I've never heard of this game. It's just purely a racing game where you go around New York. Yeah, you might find fun with that, but sure. Let's go and talk about it then. The Simpsons Hit and Run, arguably one of the greatest games that you could play on the PS2 and one of the best Simpson games in general. This is essentially a game where you just go around as your favourite Simpsons characters, completing missions, causing a little bit of chaos among the streets of Springfield as you way away around the world. It is a really good game, to be fair. I have been playing it myself. I didn't quite see the attraction to it at first when I was playing it. However, the more you get into the missions, the more you start unlocking characters. You know, the game really does show how much quality and fun, energetic gameplay there is. Like I said, for £22 at CX was selling for, I think I bought it for 18. But yeah, do definitely go play this game. If it's with the console or an emulator, give this game a go. And hopefully, whoever gets the chance to, hopefully it'd be cool to see a remake of this in the near future. Medal of Honor Frontline, then another Medal of Honor game in the series, kind of more of one of the introductory ones, just a basic World War II shooter at this one. However, it's got some good missions, but again, I'd recommend playing this on the PC for better graphical and quality performance. Grand Theft Auto 3, it started on the PS2, another great game in the GTA series. This is one that I've probably played the most, but I played it a lot on PC. Just the pure fun of running around Liberty City and the environment, causing a lot of chaos and violence, but obviously this is a game that really does well in that aspect, so really give that a go if you ever get the chance to do that. And then I follow it, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I played this one a lot on the PSP as well. That was a really impressive handheld at the time. Running around Vice City, kind of based on Miami, but this will hopefully be the follow-up for GTA 6. Again, a really great game there. You already know what to expect from GTA games, so this one is best known for its visual vibrance and fidelity. 007 Agent Under Fire, another FPS game in the 007 series. Arguably a bit more of a forgotten one. Not massively terrible, just not as charming as say Not Fire or Everything or Nothing. But this is still a decent little game if you want to pick up and play a 007 game there. So do give it a go, don't miss out on that one. Now, you want to talk about FPS games that are truly superb. Time Splitters, Future Perfect. The whole Time Splitter series in general is really good, but Future Perfect is the definition of FPS games on the PS2. This is a really well done story, really lovable characters, really light-hearted nature, yet mixed with some intense and fun quality gameplay. This is a game that you need to pick up, give it a go, and let's hopefully see a Time Splitters come back in the near future there. True Crime and New York City here. I don't personally know what this game is about. I just imagine it's kind of similar to 50 Cent Bulletproof. You're just running around a town trying to solve missions, fight crime as a corrupt police officer. Looks to be decent, just not one that I've gotten around to yet. What a great selection of games we've got here. Let's go for Ultimate Spider-Man then. This is also another game that's surprisingly quite pricey, but a really well done game. A nice cartoon kind of art style for the game, if you've ever seen it, cel shading. Got a really nice story to it as well. Really fun gameplay. This is a really nice light-hearted, but also will provide a bit of a challenging experience. I know if anybody's played the Human Torch mission at the start, if you're not familiar with the game, it can be difficult, but you also get to play as Venom, especially getting to fight Wolverine when you first meet up with him. It's a really good game, really one that should be considered for the future if you're going to be investing in the PS2. Next up then, San Andreas. What can we say that hasn't already been said about this game? It is superb for the GTA series. Look, it's even got cheat codes from whoever bought this and played this last. Superb game. My words can't do this justice, so simply put, just go out and play this wherever you can. It's pretty much available nearly everywhere. Mobiles, modern consoles, PCs. Go and play GTA San Andreas. Lara Croft Tomb Raider Legend, another entry into the Tomb Raider series. Another PS2 era of Lara Croft wasn't perhaps as well regarded as its PS1 originals. However, this is still a decent game if you do enjoy the Tomb Raider and want to see it in the next quality of consoles. SSX Tricky then, arguably one of the better SSX games in the series, either this or 3. It's a bit debatable on my one. I personally love SSX Tricky. It's so rememberable, so flashy. Great colours, a great set of characters. Although it's a short game and doesn't perhaps have most content that you would be expecting to keep you engaged with the game, it is just a great game if you want to kill 5 to 10 minutes with. Unlock some characters, unlock some new skins, unlock some boards, have a good time on the mountains. SSX Tricky is a must play. Ultimate Alliance then, this is another great co-op game really. It is a bundle of the Marvel characters from the universe. As you go around fighting different characters, trying to save them, you can fight the likes of Galacticus, a corrupted Fantastic Four, obviously Ultron I believe is also in the game as well. It's a great combo selection of roster members with over 140 characters. They've all got different skins as well with different abilities. This will definitely keep your time up if you're looking for something good to play. The sequel's not as good, it's nowhere near as customizable, so I recommend just stick with the first one. You'll definitely enjoy yourself there. Time Crisis 3, one of my favourite ever games, is an arcade light rail shooter game. However, I just think the story and just the general set pieces from this game are superb. I remember getting this, being so giddy and excited. This was one of the first games I bought when I got my PS2 back. Superb light rail shooter game, for me arguably one of the best, up there with House of the Dead and Dead Storm Pirates. If you're ever given a game a go, please give Time Crisis 3 a go. It's a superb game there. Canis Canem Edit, or better yet known as Bully. This is another great game developed by Rockstar. On one of those games that everybody's coming for at least a sequel or a remake to come back to. Really great game. You play as a student as you go around obviously the Bullsworth Academy, causing up chaos, developing some missions, and obviously developing attractions to your other classmates. What a great game this is. Hopefully, like I said, this is something that we will see going backwards into the future. 50 Cent Bulletproof, then I don't really know what this game is. However, if you enjoy 50 Cent and enjoy the shooter genre, maybe I've viewed Universal, so not the best games, mainly known for the Crash Bandicoot series. However, if you like 50 Cent, then give this a go. Airblade, no idea what this is. I imagine it's just a futuristic skateboarding game. Gonna be honest, doesn't look that great, but you know, that's one in the collection. Gran Turismo 4, obviously if you enjoy your racing games or realistic driving simulators, then definitely give Gran Turismo 4 a go. Also got Gran Turismo 3 in this collection somewhere, but this is a really nice game series, especially Gran Turismo 5 on the PlayStation 3. Max Payne, another great game here for introducing the concept of bullet time. Obviously the mechanic where you can jump in the air, slow down time and get your shots off. Tells a really good story, nice energetic gameplay. I would personally recommend playing this on PC if you do have it, just because it runs a little bit better on there. Otherwise, not a bad game there to get for the PS2. Tony Hawk's Underground 2. Now this is a game that does the Tony Hawk series justice. It's a prequel, it's a much better game in terms of a story. However, this is just more chaos. It's essentially Jackass meets Tony Hawk skateboarding. It's a really fun and vibrant game. Unlock a great slew of characters, unlock some great moments within the levels. This is definitely a game you want to give a go. I played this on the PSP, however PS2 it still holds up well, just as well. There's Gran Turismo 3 as well for you. A-Spec, also give this a go if you love the real driving simulator games. Aggressive Inline, I think this is a rollerblade game. It's a roller skating game, again similar to Airblade. I wouldn't say it massively looks that great, but however, if you're interested in that type of stuff, give it a go. Alright, so we've got a few games here. I'm just going to save these ones till the end because they're a bit of discussion. Vice City again, we've already gone through that. Mafia, the Mafia series with the Old Country coming out this year. This is where the game is all started from. No real sense of a HUD if you've ever played this game. However, this is very similar as well to the likes of the Getaway and GTA. Give this a go if you enjoy Mafia games. If you want to see how it gets on started, it's on PlayStation 2. We've then got Black. This is a great FPS game developed by EA Criterion Games. This is truly, you know, a unique experience in the sense of you actually feel the emphasis of everything you do. The guns feel powerful, the explosions will shake your screen, you can feel the audio as the bullets pierce through the wall. This is something that you should really give a go if you love FPS games, and hopefully we'll hopefully see a remake of this at some point. And then Burnout 2, a sequel to the Burnout game on the PlayStation 1. Again, if you love Burnout games and you love causing chaos with your driving, this is the game to go for. Finally then, we've also got Manhunt. Now if you're aware of Manhunt, you know how controversial this game is. Its sequel is almost impossible to buy within the country. However, I picked this up, I have played it myself, and I can understand why, because it is quite the violent game for the time. But I think it's a really engaging experience. They've been developed by Rockstar, who's made some solid games around this time. Obviously, Manhunt would not be seen following the second game because of its controversial nature, and you can understand why nowadays it hasn't been seen anymore. However, this is a really great experience if you want to play something a little bit darker, a little bit more edgy and violent. Definitely suits the time of the PlayStation 2. Now, lastly then, we're going to talk about The Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. This for me is one of my favourite games of all time. I love Prince of Persia. I love all three games, especially the Two Thrones. I love each of the environments that it tells, all the stories, even though it's not massively connected. You know, each game has their own potential benefit. But the Sands of Time for me is the pinnacle of this series. Some great engineering feats here with the rewind mechanic, introducing how players could rewind to a certain point within the game to avoid death, complete puzzles, general vibrance and colourful nature of a whimsical Arabian tale, great character development, a great story, and something that you should really look to pick up if you love story games, love adventure games, but most importantly, just give this a go because this is genuinely a game you will not regret getting to play. There you go again, that has been the game collection for my PlayStation 2, a real great selection of games as we've seen today from this selection. Obviously, a lot of these games, there are also backwards compatible and obviously have been remastered for newer consoles. So if you want to go and give them a go as well. Me personally, if you want the true authentic experience, go out and get a PS2, go and invest in these games because you want to enjoy them. Obviously, some of these are a lot cheaper than other ones. I know obviously I've mentioned Hit and Run's about 22 quid, however you could probably get it for about 4 or 5 quid cheaper on eBay. But these are some great games. It's a great time in gaming. So if you're interested in your retro games or you just want to get into collecting, go and give the PS2 a go. It's got some great games. Over 10,000 pieces of software released for the PlayStation 2. So you can't really go wrong. There's obviously other accessories like the iToy and all the iToy games that came with that. I used to have that as well. You can obviously get the G-Con games for your games like Time Crisis 3, where you can make the rail shooting a lot easier. And also just general consoles, controllers, and also accessories there. But I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please leave a like, subscribe. This is kind of, like I said, what is to be expected from this channel. Whatever I feel is worth sharing or what I think would love to be shared is what we're going to be seeing there. Obviously, please do go check out the previous video from Alton Towers if you did enjoy that. But without further ado, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Have a good day. I'll see you next time.